Welcome back to Dropped Frames, going into the second half here of the show here, and we're joined by Mr. Mike Shinoda himself. Does anyone call you Mr. Shinoda? Chat was giving me
In
shit.
life?
Yeah, just in life. Do you get called Mr. Shinoda at all? Is that something that
Um, no, not really.
I
I
didn't
mean, not
think
unless I'm
so?
at like the DMV. Like,
I didn't think so. Chat told me to call
yeah,
you Mr. Shinoda. I'm not doing it.
certainly don't get it. Like, we had our own at one point. The Linkin Park took management in house. So usually you would like you have a manager you hire. They have their own management company,
Yeah.
and like you give them a percentage to manage your thing. We decided at one point that wasn't. We felt like our that equation didn't put the manager in the same boat as the band, that they were in our minds like not necessarily rowing in the same direction, to take the metaphor too far. um and so we decided to put our management like in our organization, and like we owned the management company
Right.
and paid them. And even then nobody called me Mr. Shinoda.
Okay. All right. So don't call you Mr. Shinoda. We get it. All right. We're sorry,
Now,
Mike. We're
just a side note, just for me, I want to know, like, completely, not completely off topic, but what's the worst pronunciation of your name that you've ever heard?
Ooh.
Oh, you know what happens with I mean, this happens with a lot of people. With my name, for some reason, they scramble the letters or add extra consonants. So I used to get Shadonda all the time.
That's
I got
great.
Shenandoah for some reason. I'm like,
Oh,
how is that
Shenandoah! That's a
letters?
great song.
Yeah.
Quite a few. There's a lot less letters. It's funny because it's Japanese, so it's very phonetic, right? It's just three syllables and they're just right there. Like I love, you know, Japanese and Spanish for those reasons. Like I can look at the words and go like, I know how that's pronounced.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, is the accent on the on the first syllable like Shina?
Oh yeah.
Or
Well, so it was funny. The first time I went to Japan, with the band, I was in an interview with this lady who was like this older, snobby, like her thing was to like show up, to come in and be like, let me um expose how not Japanese you are. Because I think the like
gatekeeper.
publicist was
Yeah.
yeah, it's like the publicist was like,
Gatekeeper
yo, he's like
Karen.
Japanese
Yeah.
American. He's like Japanese. And he has family here, which was not true. And so, I mean, it was like distant family that I didn't know. So yeah, so she came in and this woman was all about like, so when you say your last name, do you say Shinoda or do you say Shinoda? And I was like, well, I'm American, so everybody that I've ever met says Shinoda, because that's how Americans look at the word and say it, unless they say Shenandoah.
Yeah.
I was thinking like Shinola.
Shinola.
Like
There's another one.
the shoe polish.
Yeah. Oh, funny story with Shinola. I got a letter from Shinola at one point asking for my permission to use their name. Like, could they use their own company name in Australia or something, like to sell a particular type of product? And I was like, and it came through like my attorney. And they were like, so this is a request. And I'm like, why is this a request? They're like, because you've got a trademark on your name, and apparently it reaches, like, they don't have the trademark you have.
Wow.
And like they're trying to sell watches or something, and they're like, is it okay if we sell a Shinola watch even though it's really close to your name and you've got a,
Yeah, that's a good lawyer.
And I mean, of course, you said no. Give me your company.
Send me watches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now, now you're a big watch guy.
The best part about it actually is that I said it was fine, and I was like, yeah, and like, you guys make cool stuff, like that's great, like, it's great to be in touch with you. And in the back of my head I'm thinking like, maybe they will like send me a watch or whatever, send me something as like a high five, like thanks for being cool about this whole thing.
Yeah.
And letting us sell, probably thousands of units of whatever it is in Australia or whatever. They never sent a thank you. They never sent a watch. They didn't send anything. They were just like, cool. And they just proceeded with whatever their business plan was they were going to do.
Yeah.
Well, I had my eye on a Shinola, but after that, no.
Not anymore.
I know,
I don't
man.
think so.
I'm telling you,
anymore.
I was a little disappointed.
Sounds like you were talking to a lawyer to lawyer type instead of a marketing person. Most likely.
I should have tweeted about it.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Yeah. Well, now they're going to hear this, obviously. And they're going to send you all the watches.
Fans of Drop Frames. They're big fans.
We got a huge market in the Shinola company, without a doubt.
Big Shinola section of our demographic there.
Everybody watching has got their Shinola watch and their
100%.
I don't even know what they sell.
I don't know.
This has been a really nice interview. Thank you guys for having me. Glad we hit all the important topics.
Yeah. I'm going to look at my phone and your publicist is like, by the way, make sure you mention, get off the fucking watches. Let's talk about some other stuff.
You stop talking.
Yeah. So we had you on in July. You've just released tons of music since then. You've been super busy. I think Drop Frames Volume 3 is now out. 4 is,
yes.
Are you working on 4? Are you continuing it?
Right
okay.
Now. I've gotten so far ahead of, like, I've got so much music now from the channel, and I love the idea of the trilogy, and I realize that if I keep going and putting these things out, like, well, I don't know. I don't have a plan to do it right now. Actually, the only thing that I am working on putting out is we made a sleeping playlist. We made rather a sleeping album, kind of. Like, I did this like stream of consciousness, no editing, no stopping, really. Hour and something long ambient track, and the fans want me to put that out so they can like go to sleep listening to it. So I'm figuring that out right now.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Not only with Drop Frames, earlier this month, you also celebrated the 20th anniversary of Hybrid Theory coming out. You guys have a box set, like a super box set with, I was reading through this, what your
I'm going to grab it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can show the unboxing video as well. It's got 5 CDs. Okay, 5 CDs, 3 LPs, 3 DVDs, a cassette.
I was gone like off screen for like 20 minutes. Like, yeah, just literally go get it.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gone for 20 minutes.
It's got an 80-page book, poster,
so
ton of stuff. Yeah.
It's a big package. But what were you saying?
No, it's just, I was finishing reading the little infographic. 80-page book, poster, lithograph, Tor laminate, and what's a download card? Is that to download all the music?
Yeah, that's just in case
Okay.
you want the MP3s to put in your, iTunes or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
the book is, here's just a couple highlights. I'm not going to take you through the whole thing because it's actually so massive.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's really a lot. The book is it's full of never before seen photos from the Hybrid Theory era, like before we got signed, when we got signed, first shows in Europe, and all of these stories too. It's full of like each of the guys, like, kind of in looking at the pictures, wrote a few things about what they remember and what the picture was about or what they saw. But just to give you a sense of how much stuff there is, like, this is a list of all the stuff that's in here. And some of these things are like, one of the things is like a DVD full of stuff. Like there's a DVD, a documentary of found footage. Basically, we discovered a hard drive full of unreleased video that from basically 2002, from our tour, a Project Revolution tour, which was, the fans, like, it's so cool to find, I don't know how many minutes, over an hour of stuff that fans haven't seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Where is this available? I assume like Amazon and all that, or do you have to go to?
The best thing to do is just go to linkinpark.com and figure it out from there.
Great.
And it's got some of our oldest demos. So a bunch of demos nobody had ever heard until now. A bunch of things with our previous singer, Mark. Mark and I had been friends since we were like 12 or 13. And we used to make joke songs together. Like I started recording with Mark. I would make rap songs. We'd make joke, like think like Weird Al Yankovic, like, you know, parodies and stuff like that. We'd make like joke Snoop Dogg and Dre songs. We'd make joke Wu-Tang songs. And
Side
then
note, are you a fan of Weird Al?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I know older. I know his older, so I don't know his new stuff.
I hope
But
people out there are just
fair
like,
enough.
I don't like that Weird Al guy. I'm not a fan.
The reason I asked, I've been a Weird Al fan. I've been a Weird Al fan since forever. He was the very first concert I ever went to. That was my own choice. You know, like I got dragged to like Clint Black. And
are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious. I love him. I've seen him 3 times.
That's
I
amazing.
can just imagine.
Yeah.
Like Mike is sitting here, like, well, I guess that Weird Al guy's okay, and then like literally a week later, Weird Al's like, Mike Shinoda.
Oh, nice fit in, buddy.
That'd be a literal. Yeah, dude. Oh, but yeah, so that's where I started. So that's how I learned to start like producing and like designing sounds and all this stuff is making joke songs. So I did that, and then Mark and I started making some serious songs. That became a band called Xero, Xero. And then we got Brad and Dave and Rob and Joe. And then eventually parted ways with Mark because he was into so much of the music, the process of it, but not singing. And he became music manager. And now he manages like Smashing Pumpkins and Korn and Deftones and System of a Down. And he's got a great.
He's doing all right.
Yeah, he's doing okay.
Yeah.
You just like named my like high school playlist, dude.
By the
Like,
way, it was ours too. The only band that he doesn't manage that we like worshipped was like Rage Against the Machine. Oh, and like 9 Inch Nails. So if he could add Rage and 9 Inch Nails to his like their roster, that would be every single band that we like love.
That'd be killer. Yeah.
So some of the demos, by the way, that from that time with Mark singing, including, by the way, the original versions of, so on Hybrid Theory, the demos that originally were written with Mark singing were Forgotten, A Place for My Head, and Runaway. So those 3 songs used to be Rhinestone, Esaul, and Stick and Move. And they're all on this. With like 100 other
with
songs,
everything else. Yeah. That's awesome.
So much stuff in here.
Yeah. The other thing, which I just found out this morning when I got the little info sheet, you got Linkin Park music now in Beat Saber.
We do. We have a killer. Our Beat Saber pack is really hard.
Yeah.
Everybody, when it came out, everyone was like, "Yo, it's Linkin Park on Beat Saber," and then they realized, "Oh my God, why are these so hard?"
Have you played it all?
Medium paper cut like normal is like a hard or expert level.
Normal songs.
Yeah. It's like really.
Have you played any of Beat Saber at all?
Yeah, I played it on my stream a couple times.
How is what's your experience with Beat Saber? Do you like it? Is it too much?
I do. I love it. For me, so usually if I do VR, I usually do it to kind of relax. And Beat Saber is not a relaxing, for me, it's not a relaxing game. It's super intense. It stresses me out.
It's a workout.
Which some people love. I mean, like, yeah, it's a workout, and it's like I get like anxious, like trying to like memorize all the things or like hit all the things. So but yeah, I've done some VR stuff on my Twitch channel, and I did Beat Saber a few times. The fans always want me to do Beat Saber, so I'll do it once in a while.
I'm gonna pull up.
What set do you got?
Real
What VR headset?
I've been using I've been using the PlayStation VR for a long time, since it came out. This year I was using a Rift, which I borrowed to see how that would work with the stream and everything. And since we've been doing the Beat Saber thing, like Oculus and all everybody kind of like, they were like, here, like borrow this unit that we usually use, in like conventions and stuff. And since they're not doing conventions, like they're not doing anything in person.
Yeah.
So they've got these units that are not being used. So yeah, I'm like this new Oculus, by the way. Can we talk about like the new Quest?
Is that the Quest 2?
I don't have one yet, but I'm like shocked. Like the Quest 1 is really great, and the new one is supposedly better in every regard, and it's $100 cheaper. So I'm like super excited about that.
Yeah, I haven't. The only thing I've read about the Oculus is a lot of the drama with Facebook. So I don't know about the hardware. I only know around the drama about that.
You know, I don't. I mean, just taking that part out of it, like the experience in Oculus it's almost like it feels so futuristic still. Like it's been around for years, but I still, when I put it on and you know, whether I'm playing a game like there's like a almost like imagine doing, it's not football, but it's a competitive game where you have to throw a ball through a hoop and you play 4-on-4. It's called Echo VR, which is a terrible name. I wish they would do a new name.
You can't just put VR at the end of a game.
It's dumb because there's like other Echo games. There's other Echo VR games. Like,
they made an Echo the Dolphin in VR, Mike? What are you? They brought it back.
It's a really good game. You guys, that's the thing, is like it's really good and it's super fun. You basically play 4-on-4 live matches against other people, and it's 0G basketball with no dribbling. So basically you're flying and floating through the air and trying to chuck this ball through a hoop, but there's all this other stuff in the way, and other players can grab onto you and punch you in the head, and you'll freeze and you'll drop the ball. Super fun. Very like, I don't know why that doesn't stress me out. It should. It doesn't stress me out. If anything, it makes me a little like motion sick, but in a good way. It's like super fun. Literally
does the term blitzball sound familiar?
Is that what I feel like? It's like, because it's a frisbee. Oh, sorry, it's not a ball. It's a frisbee. But same idea. Yeah, so you throw it like a frisbee, and it bounces off of stuff, and you can catch it midair and chuck it through the hoop. And the games are like relatively short, like 3 minutes long or something. I don't remember how.
Wow, they're straight up. Now, when you punch, do you have to do this, or do you press the button?
You have to swing.
Oh, you're just straight up punching people.
You're gripping your fist, you grip your controller, and you swing at them. And by the way, and if you grip both controllers and put them up to your face, that blocks. And if somebody hits you while you're blocking, then they get stunned.
Huh. Okay.
It's great.
Zeke, you could do this. I feel like you've trained your entire life.
Man, like this sounds like my kind of shit, and plus with the new it's only for Quest, isn't it? It's only for Oculus Quest.
Yeah, there's ways around that though.
Is it exclusive?
Do you not have? Do you have an Oculus unit or no?
I have an Index. Yeah, I got the Valve Index.
Ways around.
Actually, I have three. I have an Index, I have a Vive, and I have PSVR.
He's got
I mean, I think that's what Oculus is shooting for with this Quest. It's like $300. Like that's a pretty good.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's affordable.
So the unit, and you don't, and it doesn't tether to anything. It's $300 and it's standalone.
Oh no, it's not only wireless. It doesn't need a PC.
Yeah, it doesn't need no PC or anything. That's the Quest.
How have I not heard anything about this shit? Like I feel like I'm so dumb or so uninformed right now.
The drama enveloped it.
You're supposed to be telling me this stuff.
Yeah, people can't get past the drama, so they don't talk about the hardware. It's essentially what that is. Yeah.
You know what I think that I'm noticing. So I have young kids, and the kids, the young ones are the ones talking about it. So it's almost like if you're not on social media, you're not subscribed to all that stuff, then all you are hearing is like, oh, it's out, people are using it, and it's fun, and then that's all they know, all they need to know.
That is true. Koyu, I think you're going to take us a different direction. You got a question before we jumped into the VR discussion?
I was actually going to ask, because he was talking about, Mike was talking about Beat Saber not being his thing. I was going to ask him, well, what is your thing? And it looks like we talked about that anyway. So that's
there you go.
Awesome. I do also do some art stuff on VR. So I've done King Spray, which is a graffiti app. I tried Tilt Brush a little bit too. Tilt Brush is cool. So both of those are 3D. In King Spray, it's graffiti on a wall, so you're literally feel like you're standing there, and it's pretty like authentic feeling. Tilt brush is cool because you're drawing in 3D. So like if I go like this and then go like this, that line goes like, in that whatever axis that is. Oh yeah, this is me. Is this me?
No, I think this is just their promo video here.
Oh, this is their thing.
Yeah.
Because I had when I was a kid, everybody was like, we were listening to like a lot of like rap music that, but a lot of my friends wanted to do graffiti, and we all had graffiti names.
Yes.
My graffiti name was for some reason Spooky. I think, I know it's Spooky because I was starting to make beats at that time, and all of my beats sounded like Halloween music.
Okay.
It's like Dr. Dre.
Sure.
Like, they were all spooky beats. So I was like, when I went on King Spray, one of the first times I did it on the stream, I did Spooky.
There you go. Yeah, I'd heard of Tilt Brush. I've never seen King Spray before. Tilt Brush, I feel like, is a different type of art, if that makes sense. Like, it breaks my brain when I see a lot of the 3D stuff that people are doing in there. Super talented people, much more talented than I could ever be and will ever be. It breaks my brain seeing the Tilt Brush stuff.
I'd love to see a Spooky plus Slop at King Adrock. He said when I did my graffiti, my name was Slop. I'd love to see a team up, tag team up. Oh shit.
Tag team. A collabo piece in King Spray. Actually, a piece of trivia. I don't know if this is really well known. I don't know if that would work for the King Adrock because I think he has issues with epilepsy, and he can't do light, like bright, like blinking lights and bright stuff like that. At a certain point, if you went to a Beastie Boys concert when around Hello Nasty era, you would notice that the concert was a little bit brighter in the room and a little bit, or I should say, like not as much blinking lights and not as loud as other concerts you would go to because of Adrock's, medical stuff. Oh, you're showing Tilt Brush.
Yeah. I just wanted to show people so they could see what this is. This is like a
so it's
real-time drawing.
Paint sculpting. It's super weird, super cool.
When she finishes, it's mind breaking to see. They can add like so much depth to the actual pieces that it almost doesn't really convey what they're doing when you're watching it on like a video player rather than seeing it in person. Yeah.
That's the thing about VR in general, isn't it? Like you can see a video of somebody doing this and you've seen that in like music videos and Marvel movies and all this stuff. And you go like, okay, I know what that is. But the moment you get those goggles on and you're standing in front of it and you, by the way, and then you can like grab it and expand it. So it's the size of a building.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you can do that in this app. Like if you want to get into detail, you can just grab both hands and go like this and the whole thing blows up to be 100 yards tall potentially, right? And then you're like looking at it and you like standing in the goggles and you go, I feel like I'm actually standing in front of a thing, like a real thing that either I made or somebody else made. It's really fun.
Yeah. Perspective, I think like depth and perspective are the two things you don't really get from this. They'll do a little bit of like camera movement stuff with that, for example, with that picture frame there. I could never even think think about how to begin with this type of stuff.
Right.
It's definitely
totally. That's insane what she's doing.
Yeah.
There's a ton of videos on this. I also did the Vader Immortal games. If you're a Star Wars fan, which I am,
what'd you think?
Vader Immortal. It was. I mean, it's more story based, so it's not really it's not as much of a game, but so fun to be standing in front of a 7-foot tall Vader, and at one point, like, he's teaching you lightsaber and force techniques, and at another point, you have to fight him.
Yeah.
Just awesome. Super fun.
For sure. I was looking through some of your past broadcasts on your channel. I saw you jumped into the Among Us craze. How you
I mean, it's so tough because like I know from my limited experience on Twitch, I know that once you get if you get locked into a game, then changing your game can be really controversial with your chat, with your fan base.
Sure.
I'm the opposite, where I don't get locked into anything. And so knowing all the things I just said, if the chat is like, please do this, please stream this thing, then I'm kind of like at a certain point, like after they've gone at it for like a week of like, please stream Among Us, we want to do Among Us, then it's like, okay, fine.
Oh man, you told them the secret. Now they're just gonna keep going.
I know. No, they know. They're watching.
Come on, man. It's someone with kids. You know this, Griff.
I know.
You know this shit. Like ice cream. Okay, this one time you're gonna have ice cream. Oh, if we cry, we get ice cream.
Can't negotiate with terrorists, man.
True.
Yeah, exactly. Chad, you heard it. You're terrorists.
Terrorists. They are relentless.
Yeah. Yep.
No, but I do. I mean, yeah, I did some Among Us on the stream. Among Us is fun. It's fun.
Yeah. What I mean,
I'm a bad liar. I'm a terrible liar.
That's what everyone says, though, and then they turn out to be
like really bad.
Okay, we'll take your word for it. We'll take your word.
Are you the type of person that like can't help but smile through a lie? That you can hear a smile in the voice. You know that kind of guy. Like,
no, that's not my problem.
I wasn't doing anything.
I'm not creative enough. Like, if you ask me about something and I'm not supposed to talk about it, like if somebody tells me, here's like I'm in music, right? Like, so an artist might say, hey, I'm going to be doing this year. So excited about it. And like, obviously in that conversation, you're like, yeah, I can't tell your fans that, or I can't like, whatever. I'm fine with that. I'm good at that. But in the context of Among Us, where you're in the chat, if for anybody who's living under a rock and doesn't know what Among Us is, if you're, it's murder mystery, and you go into every time somebody gets killed, all the rest of the players go into the chat, and they're like, the first thing they do is like, where was the body? Where were you? Who did we see that's like safe and is not the killer, imposter, whatever, and that's the point where I'm like really bad in the chat. Like they're like, I'm usually like lime or green, and they're like, Lime, where were you? And I'm like, it takes me forever to write it, and then I'm like, I was in the engineer in the and they're like, by that time they've already voted me off.
Yeah,
it's like this guy's not typing quickly. He's sus and he's out of here.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, there seems to be two types of Among Us players that I've seen. It's somebody catches you going into a vent, and it's like, you were venting, and the first person is like, no, I wasn't, and the second person was like, no, I wasn't.
It's very accurate.
I love it. I've learned other techniques. They're like, I caught Lime. He was venting, and Lime has to go like, nope, Orange was venting. Just like put it right back, and everyone's like, okay, like which one?
Well, now it's one of them. Someone's Lime.
Yes, we go out Lime first, and then Orange second, I guess.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Yep.
I saw Orange kill him.
For me,
you killed him, self-reported.
I saw him do it.
Yeah, Among Us usually like dissolves for me into that Spider-Man meme, like, no, you,
right.
No, you.
That's true. Yes. Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate.
What it is.
So yeah, you've been streaming for about 6 months now, so a little over 6 months, kind of since all the COVID stuff. Are you still enjoying it? You still excited to do the grind of streaming? Where are you at with it?
I'm still changing up the you gotta like, for me, it's not like my job, so I'm basically like, I'm doing it partially just like because it's fun and it's part of the like having a routine, I feel like, and then also because that all those things being the case, I was doing like 3 hours a day, and I'm moving it back to 2 hours a day. I think 2 hours is better for me right now, partially just because I need other time of the day to like actually do music and do projects and things like that. And life happens, like adult stuff happens. You got to go handle.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, we just stream. We don't really do life. Yeah, it's boring. It's too much work.
like dealing with dogs who are a pain in the ass and peeing everywhere, and
Yeah.
Or kids doing the exact same thing.
Co's is just, it's a farm, both inside and outside his house. You know, it's rough over there.
3-year-old, a
Can
1-year-old,
confirm.
4 horses, 25 chickens now.
It's got a
In the
lot
house.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in the house. Let's not even talk about the animals outside.
I even talk about outside.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Can confirm. Been to Co's house. Smells like urine and oatmeal.
Nice. Have you made
Go
any
right at home.
any I guess purchases to the stream? I'm always fascinated. I was last time you were on with all of the tech, and I just see a shit ton of wires and LEDs behind you going. Have you added anything new into the mix?
I have the so where I added some lights. I
see the lights. Yeah.
The curtain you see behind me wasn't there in the beginning, but I didn't put the curtain in because of the stream. I put the curtain in because of the audio. This is like my primary like writing and listening area. So I added that, and it was just and it was like an added bonus that it blocked the light for the stream, so I'm not like backlit.
Yeah.
But I bought another camera. I bought like I bought a new iPad because my iPad was not working well for the stream. So a couple little things, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, I saw the overhead camera in a couple of your past broadcasts.
I just happened to have that GoPro. Like that is my GoPro that if I go on a trip or I need it for something, like I use that, and I realized, I can actually. I tried to plug it in and use it, and then when I first started streaming, and it didn't. The software wasn't like, I don't know. It didn't work then, but I figured it out.
Huh. Is that done wirelessly, or is that
it's wired.
Okay.
But it's like I don't have a producer. I don't have anybody else here. So like everything is like me just figuring stuff out. And that's been part of the fun of it. I like to tinker with stuff. So I don't go as deep as like coding or like writing scripts or anything for software that I'm in, music software in particular, but I will go pretty deep on some of the, like the other day, I think I mentioned this before we went live. Monday, I told my fans on stream, like today is going to be the most boring stream that I've done so far. For sure. Not even close. It's going to be almost annoying. But I really want to like I haven't made a new bank of original drum sounds in a long time. And so that's a thing I've been wanting to do. And I figure I'll just do it on the stream. That way you guys can check out what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So I mic'd up drum kit, a whole bunch of different snares, a whole bunch of different like percussive instruments and options, and mic'd them, did the whole thing. And then you sit there and just, it's 2 hours of me going, bong, bong, 6 times with each thing. And then like eventually, like once I've got all of them recorded, I've tweak all of the levels and whatever and start outputting them. And so that was Monday. That was super boring. Monday afternoon, Tuesday, I worked on it. And then today on the stream, and this video will be on demand, like on my Twitch channel and on YouTube. But today I got to use the instrument. So 2 days later, I've got now a drum instrument with basically 80 different drum sounds. Some of them are round robin. And if you know what that means, it's like when you hit the key, it cycles through different iterations of that sound to make it sound more natural. And then there's also velocity-based changes. So I went really deep. I did it in Contact, which is a native instruments program. And I made my own drum instrument this week, which is something I hadn't really done this way.
So just a normal weekly
second
thing.
You hit that snare, is that when Metallica contact you with the DMCA? That's our snare. That's one of that was on Fuel. Take it down, boys.
I actually hit, there was one snare that the moment, I didn't say this on the stream, but the moment I hit it, I made a face, and in my head, I was like, that's like a Saint Anger snare. Like it was like this clangy, like kitchen pot snare. And what's so crazy is I did it anyway. I did it and I hated how it sounded, but I did it anyway. I sampled it anyway. And then later after the stream, when I got to that one, I got a good laugh out of how bad it sounded. But because it was so weird sounding, I ended up putting a bunch of effects and stuff on it. And it was like one of my favorite things that I made that day, because I changed it a bunch in post, and it doesn't sound like anything else in my studio. Like it sounds crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you been following any of the DMCA stuff this week. Did you get an email from Twitch saying you were in warning of DMCA?
I didn't. Did I delete it? I didn't read that email. If I did get it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a Twitch auto delete rule set up. Everything just goes right to the trash.
So with my channel, because I started 6 months ago, ish, the rules around like what you can and can't play on stream is like it was relatively top of mind. And I had to do like I got on a Zoom or whatever with one of their legal reps and my attorney at one point, and management at different points in the conversation where we had direct conversations about what's allowed, what's not allowed. So here's what I understand. Here's some things that I know as an artist. Like the idea that I can make something live from scratch and play it over and over on my stream. And in fact, so could somebody else if they got their hands on that file. Mm-hmm. But the second it goes on into streaming services and Spotify and Apple and so on, then it gets picked up and flagged and all that. So they said, like, if you're streaming and you want to do a drawing day. So some days I'll do a day where I'm drawing things on an iPad. On those days, I'll put on a playlist of unreleased songs I've made on Twitch. So I'm playing a whole, it's 4 hours long or something of tracks that I made on the stream that are not on Spotify, so I can play them and it won't get flagged.
Right.
If I were to do that and play Linkin Park stuff or my stuff, then I'd have, even though it's my own music,
That's what I wanted to ask you about. Yes.
The likely scenario would be that it gets muted on the VOD.
Sure.
Yeah, it gets flagged.
Because that's licenses and IP rights and all that stuff comes into play.
Yeah. So I said to them, as you can imagine, I said, can you just give me an exemption or whatever on my channel to use my music that I either, like in some cases that I own outright, 100% I own it. Like in the case of Linkin Park, I'm an owner, like I'm a rights holder with the band. So technically what you would have to do in that case is get the sign off from everybody else that it's okay for me to use the music, but I could do that. And I told them, so if I get a piece of paper that says, yes, Linkin Park approves Mike Shinoda to use Linkin Park music on Twitch, is that good enough? And they said, well, actually, because the system is set up the way it is, we can't do that on a case-by-case basis. Because then if we do it for you, we can do it for everybody. And then it like requires us to like do this whole thing with every single channel and every piece of music, and then it gets infinitely complicated way too fast.
Yeah.
So their thing is
we don't scale.
Yeah.
Theoretically, if you did that, then I could go to an artist and be like, "Will you sign off on me using your personal stuff?" And
right. So yeah, and then they'd have to verify you. What if you did that and you said, "Here's my legal letter from Imagine Dragons," and then they let you do it for a while and whatever, and eventually Imagine Dragons comes back and goes, "We didn't sign that. Like we didn't say that was okay," or "We signed this thing and they're using it differently." And all that stuff is liability they don't want to deal with. Now, here's the other thing. Like, I don't know if you probably never followed some of the rights issues with songwriters on recorded music. So one thing that we don't really historically have to deal with very much is all of these songwriter publishing shares, because for the vast majority of Linkin Park music, the writers were Linkin Park, 6 guys in the band, and we wrote everything. Well, Rihanna doesn't write everything. And some of the biggest artists on the planet, like their one song might have 20 people involved with it. And those people they get different percentages. And when this guy has 2%, but this guy has, 30% of the song, that becomes a nightmare. And that's just one song. And now multiply that by every song, right, on pop radio. And so that's why, if you wonder why these things don't get resolved and why they become these big nightmare conversations, it's because there's a writer somewhere on a huge song who makes a great living having 10% of one Rihanna song. And if that song gets licensed or used a certain way and whatever, and they don't get their percentage of their cut, like that could be really bad for them. They aren't making millions of dollars. They're making thousands of dollars, and they're counting on those thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Zeke, I know you wanted to jump in, so I will clear the room in the air for you,
No,
please.
it's all good. It's all good, dude. I was gonna say in chat, like, I've interrupted you guys more than my fair share, so totally my turn. We were talking about this before, like during the break, about like how much an artist themselves has a say about like any of this DMCA stuff, and I'm like, it's really eye opening to see your perspective of it. But I want to know, like, do you know who actually like has like anybody who has the reins on the DMCA? Like, who is it all automated? Do you know anything?
Yes. Like, part of the reason why this is a complex issue that keeps coming up is there's a lot of rights holders, and everybody's. Do you remember when Spotify and Apple Music streaming started becoming like more prominent, and you'd hear a lot about, well, this artist or this writer only got this time a couple pennies for every 1,000 spins of this song, and like that's a tragedy. Like, we can't let that happen. Here's the thing: like all of those, the music, like the ownership and the income in music is really complicated. Just on its own, just the basic part of it, just the part of like, I wrote a song and they're going to put it on a platform, and when somebody streams that, I should get my percentage of that, right? Well, it's way more complicated than you think. Like, just the rights to have like your piece of that song is split in half. There's recorded, there's the ownership, the recorded part, which is overseen by the record company. Then there's the writing of it, which is overseen by the publishing company. So, for example, if I get a request to put a song in a Mercedes-Benz commercial, then they're going to pay. They send out two payments. They send a payment to record, and they send a payment to publishing. And if somebody, so the reason they do that is, if someone then takes my song, if you cover my song, so you covered in the end, and then you made $1 off of it, then the recorded
that's being
side,
generous. Just to let you know, that's being really generous.
Then the recorded side is you recorded that song. But the publishing side is me. I wrote that song, right? Or it's Linkin Park in that case, wrote that song. So there's all these complexities, and then you start to add in the Rihanna situation where there's all these writers and stuff. It's very complicated. It's very hard.
Wow.
So there isn't an easy way to say like, well, if we would just do this one thing, then it would clear up being able to use music on a live stream. It would there's no one thing that will do that. Because not to mention the fact you're talking about like multiple countries and regions and all that.
Yeah, the legality of it is just absurd when you think of where, like, if I play a song right now, where that is being heard around the world, and every single one of those different regions is a new thing when it comes to the law.
So you realize that, like, technically, if a workout spot plays music, they are supposed to buy a commercial license to do that, because truth be told, the music they play in a place like that does influence whether or not you want to go. Like, if you're a huge death metal fan and you found a gym that just plays your favorite shit, like, you go there because it's like, oh, because I love the music. Like, they play all my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
And I can go in and, like, and so everybody knows that does matter. So if a gym opens up and they don't do that, technically they're in the wrong. They're supposed to be doing that because that license then pays the people whose music you're using.
Yeah.
And again, like, it's not about Linkin Park. It's not about the people who are making so much money that it's like, yeah, if you take $5 away from it, it's not a big deal. It's more to protect the people who are, like, right now, if not for coronavirus, they would be playing shows for 500 people a night, and they're making ends meet being a musician. Like, that's the person the rules are there to protect. So think about that person, and as because certainly you're not hurting J
Well,
Balvin.
I would say a lot of Twitch doesn't even go to the person. They think, well, why is Twitch doing this? It's not Twitch doing this.
It's not about Twitch.
Yeah.
And by the way, Twitch has their position and they're going to fight it out with whoever. They're going to fight it out with the labels and distributors and whatever. And at the end of the day, somebody will definitively, win. Whatever. Right now, Twitch has got their latest thing for those who are streaming, who are watching and interested in all that. Like, I guess the newest thing is they released, what's the name of their service?
Twitch Soundtrack, I think. Is that
Soundtrack?
I think that's the name of it.
My understanding of that is they're gonna create a bank of royalty, like basically whitelisted stuff that you're allowed to stream.
Yeah.
That's their solution, is like, okay, if people are having difficulties in using popular music, then we're going to create a database of stuff that you're allowed to stream, and then you won't have that problem.
Yeah.
But the problem is obviously two things. One, people like to stream popular music. And two, what happens when somebody sneaks a pirated version of a song into that database of quote unquote free music? Because I'll tell you, the two things that are going to happen right away is somebody's going to sneak a song in there that doesn't belong there, that someone does own the copyright to and doesn't want it in there. And number two, somebody's going to create a song using samples of recognizable material, and they're going to sneak it in there. I see that all the time with sample banks that you would buy for like your recording software. So when you buy a sample bank, for example, you might buy a drum pack and be like, oh, okay, well, these drums, if I buy this, then I can use these drums, kicks and snares and hi-hats on anything I make on my song. Well, once in a while, I've gone in those and I'm listening to them. I'm like, that's the snare from this Meters song. Like, that's the snare from a Barry White song. I can tell. I know exactly what song it's from. I've heard Led Zeppelin stuff in those, like drums from Zeppelin songs in those packs. I'm like, dude, there's no, if I used that, and Led Zeppelin's attorney was like, okay, so like you use the snare from When the Levee Breaks. Like, you think we can't tell? And you'd be like, no, I used the snare from the Splice sound pack. Like, I didn't know it was When the Levee Breaks.
Dude, you remember, I'm not like totally sure how old you are, but I'm sure like you probably remember when Huey Lewis and the News got like, it was a huge thing. They got a huge lawsuit because they used Funky Town's ding ding ding, that one little guitar riff. You remember that?
I don't remember. I vaguely remember. I remember it being in the news.
Yeah, it just reminded me of that.
Way to say that. I remember it being a thing that people talked about. Yeah. It's
brings me to a question. In your opinion, who or what, honestly, does the DMCA like benefit like the most?
Okay, so
do you? I mean, if you have like an idea,
I think the intention, in a broader scope, my understanding is that the intention of protecting the ownership of the, who gets to use the song and whatever, it's intended to protect the rights owners of the people that created stuff. So, and by the way, like if you create a song, and then we've all seen the power of a great song to market something else, right? Like, that's the reason Linkin Park did the stuff with Transformers. Like, we were like, yeah, we like Transformers, but like, this is going to be mutually beneficial if we get it right. It will make like Linkin Park fans will be stoked on Transformers, and Transformers fans will be stoked on Linkin Park. And that is a situation where, imagine a world where we make a song and Transformers gets to just like put our song in their movie and not pay us. And we're like, but you obviously like won over all of these, you brought all of these Linkin Park fans into your movie theater to watch your film because you used the song. What if the rules were, no, we don't have to pay you. We don't have to acknowledge you. We just use whatever music we want to use. Like, fuck you guys. That would be a nightmare. And people would, I mean, if you look back to our bass player in Linkin Park, Dave, He was a philosophy major in college, and he'd often bring in like philosophical arguments and just perspectives on some of the things that we did and would do. And he often would remind us that he'd remind me that over looking back hundreds and hundreds of years, the artist was always the like slave, right? If the king wanted you to paint the ceiling of the Vatican, like you were lucky to be doing it. He didn't change your life. Artists died poor. They always died poor, and they became more famous after they were dead. Like, so the life of an artist, historically, not until like modern times were artists really like revered. And so I think that there's this weird like center point in between those realities, that there's still a push and pull of like, but it's just a song, like whatever. Related to this, I don't know. I mean, like, what do you guys think of this? So let's take it out of music for a second. Let's say there's a graffiti artist, like, who paints a mural and people locally love it. Nobody touches it. They don't write over it. They take pictures with it. It's beloved. And it's, who cares what the mural looks like? It's just a cool mural. And then this is a real thing because it's happened to multiple brands. And then let's say H&M shows up and they do their fashion photo shoot in front of it. And then that fashion photo shoot is their ad campaign. It's on TV, it's online, it's their lookbook that they'd send to everybody. Like, they didn't get the approval of the person who painted the mural. They didn't ask anybody. They're not paying anybody. Like, what do you guys feel about that?
But I think you can take that example and apply it to the games that we stream, right? Because like we don't get the rights to stream the games that we stream. We just kind of do it and hope that now for almost 10 years that we're not going to get sued for doing it, right?
And you're lucky.
Well,
like
I think it comes down to just. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I
was going to say it just comes down to value and overall, like, how much intake there is of any kind. So if that in that example, if the mural is a reason for that intake, if people are looking at that and their eye is getting caught by the mural, then they see the model, then they see the brand, and without the mural there, that progression wouldn't have happened and that purchase may have not have happened. Well, that mural then is a part of that value. Like, it is something that deserves to be included in that part of value, kind of like how everything is like right now. So that's one of the reasons, for instance, like if we buy a video game, we're giving something to that developer, we're giving them a monetary thing, and then we're taking it and then we're doing something with it to make monetary gain for ourselves. So, and that's one of the reasons, like, it's so important if we get something for free that we have to give some value to the devs by saying, hey, the devs gave us this, like this, this is a free key. Like, this is something that happened. Now, does there need to be more than that? Arguably. And we've actually had discussions like this in like down like at other times where it's kind of like, what's going to happen when one day a developer gets up and says, look, you streamers are making money using our art piece. We want a piece of that. You can't stream our game unless you pay us a $250 production fee or something. Like, then you can stream our game. Like, that's something that can happen. And that could be the kind of thing where all of a sudden, we're going to like a marketplace for major games and we're having to purchase rights to stream the game. Maybe it even scales on how many viewers we have at the time. So it's all about the value and how much is gained from doing that. I mean, there are streamers that don't use a mic, they don't use a camera, and they'll stream full playthroughs of games. And in that case, all they're basically doing is showing off all the devs' work. Like, that's it. They're not like almost adding anything to the process. They're just they're showing everything that the devs did. So yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting discussion. Like, that's a discussion that can go all sorts of different directions because it's such a gray area right now.
Yeah.
I just had a thought that we as streamers are paying the video game developers and publishers in exposure. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. Essentially.
Kind of. But well,
by the way, they know that. I know that they know that. Like, any content holder, like in the TikTok world. So music to TikTok is video games to Twitch. Okay, same relationship, same thing.
Yeah.
So music, like record companies and whatever, and musicians, they know that if something goes viral on TikTok, that is going to equal a lot of exposure for the track. Like they're thrilled when people start doing dances to their songs. And in fact, they're so thrilled about it that they're now, for a long time now, they pay the influencers to dance to their thing. And a lot of that's happening, and the influencers aren't acknowledging that they got paid to do it. Yikes. So that's the part that it's like, okay, as a fan, you're like, really, like, how many of your TikToks are paid for? Like half of them, most of them, all of them? We don't know. We have no idea because they don't ever say. And that's the part. I just think that I like transparency. Like I like it when people are like, look, this is an ad. By the way, it's an ad because I like this thing. It's or this is just an ad and you can tell them thing. It's like, this is paying the bills. Thank this company for like giving me money. Here's their product. That's all this is. But other times it's like, no, I actually legit like this thing and they're going to pay me to put it on my, my channel of whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird world for sure. I feel like technology is always so far ahead of the law and it's always catching up.
I want to call him Mr. Shinoda now because I feel like I've been taught.
The funny thing,
Mr. Shinoda, I have a question.
What's great about this too is that I know, like, I actually, and you guys do this naturally. I was a long time ago when we were talking about, there was a lot of like, I went to a lot of like social media conventions, and it wasn't, I was the reason for going was that it was music related, or I was invited as a music perspective on, talking to like marketing people about like how they can market better or how they can speak to young people better or whatever. And somebody said at one point to me, like, one way you can approach this that like is it will feel great to do, and it will be worthwhile to your audience, is if you bring something of value when you do it. Like if you teach them something, right? And I think you guys, like, whether you're just teaching them or telling them about things that are up and coming and exposing them to new games, new ideas, whatever, or it's like literally I'm like teaching you how to do a thing you don't know how to do. Either way, I feel like that's a great place to sit in the world of like media, right? Whether it's Twitch or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Like if I can show you something that you're interested in learning about, even if it's, some goofy music software or just how like being an artist works, that hopefully is valuable.
Yeah, I think we would all agree.
Pretty cool.
For sure. I think we got to call the interview there. We lost track of time. At least I did.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're a little bit over. But
as we do.
Yeah, that's what happens. We're going to do some shout outs though. So Mike, we'll let you go last. We'll let the other guys go first. Zeke, what was that? You were
no.
You were doing something. There was okay. All right.
I was gonna say something, but I can wait.
Okay. All right. Zeke, do some shout outs then.
Will do. What's up, everybody? My name is Ezekiel the Third. You can find me at / Ezekiel_III on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you, Mike, for being here once again. Always such a wonderful guest, charming, informative, all that shit. And I just want to say, if you need, need a dude for some Among Us, hit me up, man. DM's open, homie.
Let's do it.
And if you know any politicians, they're really big right now on Twitch. We'd love to get those.
There you go.
Also.
Yeah. Anyway, you can find me. I'll be streaming the tabletop role playing show called Gone in about an hour on twitch.tv/tablestory. I will be on this episode, so if you want to watch me, that's what I'll be on. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific, starting my stream doing. I gotta check out Remothered, man. I got one day to do fun shit.
Yes.
I'm gonna check out Remothered Broken Toilet tomorrow. Let's see how long it lasts. But if I get sick of it or I hate it, I've got all kinds of other games that I can go back to and look at. But then on Friday, we start. Hopefully, if they don't push it back again, we'll start Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams, Dry Twice. That's all I got.
Mike, you gonna play that? Is that on your list of games?
He said that, and I was literally like, "Wait, what? It's that game? Is that like from the '90s?"
Yep.
They've had, I think 8 or 9 games. They stopped for a while. They had a new one like a couple years ago.
Is it like R-rated or X-rated or what is it?
It's all like Porky's, like tongue in cheek, like they hint at stuff, but they don't like really like.
They make you think the game is about 5 times worse than it really is.
Yeah. It's honestly, it would be safe for cable.
Okay, safe for cable.
After midnight.
Showtime time. Up all night.
Okay. All right. Go. Do some shout outs for us.
Okay. As always, a big thanks to JP and Zeke, and a special thank you to Mike Shinoda. Very cool discussion today. Really appreciate the insight. And of course, best of luck with his new album, Drop Frame Stuff. That being said, I'm Ko. Hi. Thank you for watching today. I'll be playing Solasta for the first time tomorrow and hearing my own terrible voice acting. I'm off tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll be doing Hades tonight and tomorrow as we wrap up our Hell Mode epilogue run. Into this weekend, we'll probably have more Doom DLC. We'll probably be doing more Witcher 3, getting that all set up and ready for Cyberpunk next month, and all sorts of other fun stuff. So anyway, guys, thank you for being here, and also I will see you guys on Friday for Friend DA with JP. So you guys then.
Yeah, Mike, do some shout outs for us. Where can people check your stuff out?
Okay. I'm Mike Shinoda. Hi. My Twitch channel is official Mike Shinoda. I stream weekdays from 10 a.m. to about noon, LA time, Pacific time. Drop Frames is also, besides being the name of this show, it's the name of a series of albums that I made live on Twitch. You can find those on any streaming service, including Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, etc. And Linkin Park has a 20th anniversary Hybrid Theory celebration box set, which is you can get a physical box set like the one I showed you here, or if you just want to check out the music, you can find all of the tracks, including the rare B-sides, the rare demos, and all that stuff on Apple, on Spotify, and all the places you listen to music. So go check those out.
Awesome. And grab the Linkin Park stuff on Beat Saber as well if you play Beat Saber.
And you can download the Linkin Park Beat Saber expansion pack. Yeah,
that's out there. Cool. That'll do it. Thanks everyone so much for joining us here on Drop Frames. Mike, thank you for talking to us about DMCA. It was a very interesting perspective. I think that a lot of people don't get to hear that often here on Twitch. So really do appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. That's it. We'll be back next week with another show. Have a great rest of your week. We're out. Bye-bye.